playing series this heads up or not?
Up to you, I don't care. I'm not fast, bro.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, here we are for the grind heads up. I'm also in the commentary box here with Dan Mayo. He's continuing the call. How are we, Dan?
I'm good, Aiden.
Yeah, fantastic, mate.
Nice little break.
So it looks like we have the Brazilian versus the Adelaide local, Pierce Hines. And if you were at the start of this final table, Pierce was my selection for the victor, but Higor was the big stack the whole entire way. And it doesn't surprise me to see him here heads up.
Not at all, especially watching the last half hour before they just went on break that I did. It was Igor running over the table.
Yeah, he generally had 60% of the chips, and he was putting a stranglehold on the smaller stacks, and I can see he's absorbed most of them, being he's at 8 million chips.
It's, I mean, they're still pretty deep. Like Pierce says, the short stack has still got 35 bigs, so that's putting a heads-up play to come. But yeah, Higo hasn't been doing a lot wrong from the little part of this final table that I've been watching. And having the cards helps, of course, at the key moments, but he looks like he knows what to do with them when he gets them.
I don't think I stand much chance here. I think I have to go all in.
Now, I do think they may have been discussing a deal whilst we were off stream. There's about a $15,000 differential in the scheduled amounts for first and second. I don't know for sure.
We will get confirmation on that. We'll have producer and our media team come over with confirmation as the call continues. But on the button here, Higor's got 6-5 of clubs.
And I mean, look, button heads up. You should be opening almost anything. 5-6 suited definitely qualifies, and he did indeed open and was indeed called by 10 Jack, as you'd expect.
And Pierce gets a gut shot, but on a pretty spade dominated board.
Yeah, sometimes heads up, your heart matters more than your cards, or it's more that your opponent doesn't have matters more than what you do have. And there's a chance either player to
win the pot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's that is the beauty of heads up. It's you're playing one-on-one psychologically against the other one. The cards are just the tools, right?
Yeah, it is great. I was saying this to Harvey just earlier that it's a very different form of no limit hold'em. I quite enjoy heads up no limit hold'em poker, more so than full ring hold'em. There's nowhere to hide. It's a whole different set of decisions you're making. It's different reading skills, or certainly much more frequent reading skills you're employing. It is fun.
Yeah.
So tournament players don't always get to do it a lot. Obviously, you're very fortunate whenever you do, because it means you're in the final two of the tournament.
And it's not like the standard short-handed game, min clicking, all that. The bigger bets can come in play.
Oh, definitely. And momentum is really important. Noticing patterns in your opponent and avoiding them noticing patterns in you is really important. It's a lot of fun, and if it wasn't just for the practical overheads of having to employ a dealer for every 2 people, I think it'd be great to see a lot more heads-up tournaments going around. They're a lot of fun.
I think of this.
What have we got? Pierce has flopped top pair. Igor's flopped 3 fits of nothing at all.
Yeah, it's not current in our schedule, but it has been in our schedule before, a heads-up tournament running.
Yeah, I remember I played one at Crown a few years back that was actually a heads-up teams tournament that Joe Hasham, I think, organised, and Joe out of his own pocket put up flights to Vegas for the winning team as well. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it started out as teams of 3, and first round was. Sorry?
Was it blind by blind, or
no? So you would
he got
like a team of 3, and each team member would play a heads-up match against their opposing team, and whichever team won 2 out of 3 heads-up matches advanced to the next round. And so we got like 16 teams of 3 or something in the tournament, just doing a standard knockout draw. And we just took over the Crown Poker Room for an afternoon to do it, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just paying.
We should have raised this blame by.
For anyone who's tried to do the financials of running a poker tournament work, dealer time and how many players per table and all those things come into it, and it's the economics on heads-up tournaments are a bit harder to square up than the full ones. So.
Unfortunately, it is, and especially in the Australian economy, it's a bit hard to pay for.
Yeah, and I mean,
our dealers are the life force of the poker industry, to be honest with you.
And it's pretty rare a tournament operator is going to put on a tournament that they know is going to be a loss. And so we don't see them, but that they are fun. What have we got going here? A chance for either person to bluff at it. Higor knows he's got no showdown equity, and that might incentivise him to take a stab at it. Whereas Pierce might be thinking, sometimes my king eye's good. I can just hope it goes check, check. And so will we see a bet from Higor here? Or will he wave the white flag? You'd like to see one more card, I'm sure, with that open-ended 3, 4, 5, 6, but it's not going to happen. Looks like he's putting out a bet to about $1 million.
1 million.
And that should be met with a fold. It would be a soul read for Pierce to call this down.
A soul read, he says.
I think Pierce has already lost the opportunity to re-raise on a bluff, having checked the river first to act. And so I'd expect to see a fold. But if he wants to prove me wrong and make the call with the soul read, then hats off to him. Looks like he's thinking about it.
Yeah, he
doesn't look like posturing.
He's not. He's gone into the tank.
Yeah, and then did he go hit the 3? Shouldn't have, and if not, then why didn't he bet an Elliott Street? Throws it away.
Not once did I see him glance at his chips either, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh, and he shows the bluff. Look at that. And that's not a bad thing to do heads up sometimes. So you got to get in the heads of your opponent, and, or head of your opponents, I should say. So look, the more I play poker, the less I voluntarily give away information I don't need to. But sometimes you do deliberately want to show a bluff to try to rattle the guy at the other end of the table.
It's a funny game, isn't it? You can, information is the key, and you can shut down at a poker table and not want to give that to anybody else. But then you can be playing in a casual environment, knowing how to keep those things, but still being your aware self.
Yeah,
you know
and that's
what
just
I mean?
it. And it's like the more casual players like to explore the what ifs, and or after a hand's over, say, "Oh, look at what I had," and they want the rest of the table to share in the almost situation that almost happened or something. And but then the more serious players, and obviously there's two quite experienced serious players, know that you're just giving away information that might get used against you every time you do that. And so the more you play, the less you do of it.
Do you want a drink, Igor?
And also the more you play, the more you've just seen all these situations before, and so you get a lot less phased
I'm not sure.
by whatever rare thing happened, and you don't feel the need to
I don't want tequila in my drink.
indulge in banter with your table mates about it. You just
so we're in a different era of poker here now. You did mention prior to this that you've played in the Crown era as of myself and now we're in a new era of the independents on the scene.
Yeah, I think it's great for tournament poker in Australia. There was obviously there was a huge hole to be filled when the pandemic happened and Crown shut down, and B, people would have had opinions about how well Crown sort of ran things beforehand. And look, personally, I think they did generally a great job, and the Aussie Millions was a fantastic series. But there's definitely since then been a big hole in the market for independent operators. It's great getting this out of casinos or removing the monopoly casinos had on tournament poker. And look, I started playing. I played a lot of pub poker in starting in 2006 in Sydney, which was like the second year that APL was up and running.
Sure.
And their first big tournament they did, they had this tournament at Luna Park in Sydney in July 2007 that had $1 million prize pool. I played in that one as well. And that was great, but it was still a world of difference the way these non-casino operators ran things back then compared to the quality we've got now and the spoiled choice we've got now. That it's actually possible for tournament pros to make a living just travelling the Australian tournament circuit these days, I think, if they're good enough. Because there are enough games on offer frequently enough that
it's
big enough levels, they can do that. And that's a really new thing. Like, even before the pandemic, I don't think that was the case. There weren't tournaments frequent enough that you could be a tournament pro solely in Australia.
Well, the industry is so healthy right now that people are becoming pros and travelling around, and it's nice to be here in Adelaide. And one day, let's hope that the market reopens for Melbourne. Sydney's booming. Brisbane is probably leading the chase. I would say equally with New South Wales.
Yeah, and
maybe, I don't know. I could be biased. I am a Queenslander.
That's it.
Yeah.
And look, Queensland's a lovely place to play poker, and a lot of the cash games that I used to play in Melbourne at the casinos, we moved to the Star or the Gold Coast and played there the last few years. But it's so much contingent on state legislation, like you say, and that's the issue with Melbourne is, just the rules at the moment say you must be Crown Casino if you want to, kind of spread real money poker games easily, and it's very difficult to get around that. Other states, it's easier. Now, of course, that deserves to change and should change. There's a lot of people doing their part to try to make that change.
Has the game got stronger?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's hard for me to talk firsthand about No Limit Hold'em because I've stopped playing that in the last few years. As I was saying to beforehand, I probably play mixed games now, but I'm around it enough that I can see quality has gotten much stronger. I still, dabble in the tournaments from now and then, and now I hold them. And
is it because the prize pools are just too hard?
I think it's just it's
to walk away from.
Well, I mean, look, the bigger prize pools will attract better players for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a lot of it's people getting more experience, and it's easier to get information to learn.
Yeah.
And that's a global phenomenon. There's so many poker training sites, and there's so many live streams. You can watch good players and listen to.
I love that you said that.
Good commentators, not us, but actual expert commentators talking about the game.
Because as a game, and I'm sure you will agree, being a poker enthusiast, we do believe it is as a sport, and you can train your mind and your skill sets and your sharp sets, and there's training schedules out there, and there's so many pieces of information that you can upskill to become better at this. And I think this is why we want to lead in the direction that we are, and try to let people know we don't consider this gambling.
No, it's not, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is a sport, or it's a mind sport, an e-sport in some ways as well.
Yeah.
You can debate whether professional players deserve to be categorised as like athletes, and that's sort of a different argument. And obviously, physical stamina helps when you're on the tournament grind. But look, I've played competitive games all my life. I've got a big hand here for Pierce with Queens. I played chess when I was a teenager, and backgammon for money, and moved on to poker. And,
very much so. And they're a sport of their own, right? A strategical sport.
They're definitely games that have a skill element. Deserve to be taken just as seriously. And if the market can create an opportunity for people to become professionals and make a living playing those games, whether it be through prize money or any of the other revenue sources, that's great. And it allows people to indulge a recreational passion and take it as seriously as they want to take it. So I think it's a great thing for Australian poker.
And I think it's great for the industry as well to be able to have these particular games here. It's fantastic for tourism. We're filling hotels. You're getting to go to cities.
And that's it.
You're getting to bring people in from international.
It is. And finding those partners like the hotels is important. Like, we can see casinos don't need a monopoly on being the venues for these tournament series. We're at the lovely Intercontinental here that the Hashem Management Group has secured for this event. And it just works, And even, I was actually before I came on the stream, I was having a drink with Tony Hasham and telling him, well, we knew this, but reminding him that, look, even most big tournament series that are hosted at a casino, they're not in the casino poker room. They're at the venue spaces, the function spaces at the casino. Australia is a bit of an exception there, but even for those that remember to Crown Aussie Millions, they had their overflow room in an exhibition space that they used. And if anyone's gone to the World Series, you're not playing in the horseshoe poker room of 10 tables, you're playing in massive exhibition spaces, and that can just as easily be in a hotel.
Yes.
And in a lot of ways, for the private tour operators like APT, hotels are the perfect partner.
And you have to do it on, look, the operation for a poker tournament has to be on a larger scale for it to be profitable, and there is thin margins.
Yeah, it is. And Australia, is still finding its feet in the different tour operators we got here. I think it's great that for the most part they are collaborative with each other. They're not always competing over the same segment of the market. Some of them, position themselves as different players. So to the extent they can help each other and grow the size of the pie for everybody, I think it's really good. And
well, in my opinion, I believe we need each other because we have grown to what we are today on the competitive nature of our products.
Yeah, and having competition is really important to make sure the operators play their A game.
Dude,
keep improving.
I've played the same amount of hands you have played.
The people that are playing the grind and the Goliath that's going on in the room right now as well is a very different segment of the customer base than the people that play their pub poker games once a week and want to play a bigger tournament once a month or once a quarter over a weekend. And we need operators that can provide both. And having competition for both those sectors is still good because it means we'll get a better quality product.
Yeah.
Now, both, coming back to the action on the table, he was picked up a pair on the turn, and obviously it's no good as yet against the second pair. The 4 clubs might scare both of them though, so I don't think this pot's going to get too much bigger.
Yeah, check down there.
Check it is. And while we've been talking about the state of the poker economy in Australia, Pierce has taken away the chip lead and been growing it.
Wow.
And there's all those red chips worth 100,000 each that we see, which was one start stack for this tournament, I believe. And still great, we've got 100 big blinds in play. 60-40 split of the chip stacks roughly, and still plenty of time and plenty of opportunity for either of these two gentlemen to exert themselves as the dominant force and win that trophy.
Our media guy Chris Water was just telling me that he was doing some recording for Stack Social, and
good venue.
Pierce won against I think the 4K buy-in that they had there, which was pretty lucrative, and he had a bet with the Croc.
Yeah, with Billy.
Yeah, Billy Croc, and the bet was that if he won the tournament, that he had to wear a T-shirt with his face on it.
So Croc wore a T-shirt with Pierce's face on it.
Yeah. So
I am going to message Croc tomorrow and ask for a photo of that, because that would be hilarious.
That is the story that come through the lines here on the stream. So
sadly, Croc did not voluntarily advertise that information.
Double.
To 9 high. Social chats I'm in with him. So I can see why. Now I've got photos on my phone here of Croc wearing a massive sombrero in cash games we played. I used to actually at Stack Social a few years ago. I played a cash game with Croc there. We went for a week every night playing a limit Hold'em, limit Omaha high-low game. And anyone who lost $10,000 or more in a night had to wear the sombrero for the rest of the night.
Bro, I have played the same amount of hands as you
was wearing that sombrero. He did not have a good week that night. Look, Croc's a great player. I'm not trying to suggest he's a loser at that game. He just happened to run quite bad that week.
No, but isn't there there's a good losing culture of being able to keep the game fun and
look, that group of guys, they play that game, have been for years. You know, we used to play at Crown every now and then. We've got a few different venues, and yeah, you know, I mean, look, you're not in that game if you can't handle losing the buy-in. But it's limit, you know, so you're not going to go from winner to flat felted in one or two hands like you could in some of the big PLA games that we see spring up at these tournament series. But yeah, it's all in good fun. I can tell you on good authority Croc is a long-term winner at that game.
I'm sure, mate. I'm sure.
I won't name the long-term losers at the game because that's not polite.
He lost his sports bet with me last night, so he doesn't want to show you.
Yeah, I recall listening to a conversation with the organiser of that game and someone else a few weeks ago where we were discussing who were the big winners in that game over the last few years, and Croc was one or two now.
Please make your way back to your table.
So, what's your favourite mixed game? Is there any specialty?
Look, personally, I'm a big fan of No Limit Deuce to 7 single draw.
Okay.
But I looked at
which, you know, almost became the World Series main event in the early 70s when they were deciding between that or No Limit Hold'em. History obviously tells us there was No Limit Hold'em. But yeah, some people say it's the purest form of poker because you have no information about exposed cards. There's an opportunity to bluff in every hand. There's arguably two opportunities to bluff in every hand, not just in the betting side, how many cards you take as well.
And just for those at home who are listening,
what the hell is No Limit Deuce to 7 single draw?
Yeah. And if we could, and what your holding cards would look like.
So, you know, anyone who's watched like old movies about poker, or maybe they learned to play at the family dinner table when they were kids, and they might have played 5-card draw for high, you know, where you get dealt 5 cards face down, you've got the betting round, you've got an opportunity to exchange cards, so you can throw away 3 cards, keep 2, and you get 3 new cards, another betting round, and then you show down the best hand. And that's, you know, single draw poker. Just traditionally, instead of playing it for high, where you want a royal flush, we play it for low, where you want what would be the worst hold'em hand, which is 7, 5, 4, 3 deuce without a flush. Because aces are high. Oh, we do have a big hand on. Yeah. Now, I mean, 2 pair, jacks and 3s. That is a good value bet by Higor. What can Pierce beat though?
Not much.
Nothing but a pure bluff. Yeah. And I mean, I can tell you there's even some bluffs Higor could make that would beat the Queen High. So, yeah, you don't want to see that all in, but as Pierce, but it's a fold.
So reverting back, we're playing for the low here.
You're playing for the low, and so long ago, I guess, the series players learned that game just plays a lot better as low than it does as high. Yeah. And, you know, look, I completely agree, and, you know, I won't go into all the reasons why, but, yeah, you're trying to make, you know, and a single draw. We also play this game as triple draw in a limit format where you get 3 rounds of swapping over cards, and obviously that changes the quality of what's a good hand, you know, in triple draw. And with the limit betting structure, and so there's 4 betting rounds per hand as opposed to 2 betting rounds in the no limit structure. You know, typically people are showing down like 8 highs and sometimes 7 highs in triple draw. In single draw, you know, a jack high and a 10 high is a playable hand. And in fact, like if I've get dealt a pat jack high, so that might be like jack 8, 6, 5, 2 or something, you know, 5 cards, no pair, jack's the highest. And you get a 1-card draw, so you might have like a, you know, 8, 4, 3, 2, and a king, and you get to throw away the king and take a draw. Well, the jack's a favourite there, anyway, against the 1-card draw, and so, yeah, like, it's a game that does get streamed sometimes on the World Series, so anyone who wants to, you know, has got a Poker Go subscription can find a few past tournaments on it to look at it. But I just find it's a lot of fun. We did actually run it at APT Eden's Hill last year, and I think we may have done it this year as sort of the final mixed game in the series. It's an action game. You know, it's one where you'll get quite a few rebuys happening. And I always find a lot of fun. But besides that one,
I do remember the last one that Shannon Shannon played in there. My cousin actually won, I think.
And
Yeah,
the VPIP
they
has
have.
to be 100, so you have to at least call one bet. Like,
I did the one in 2023. I did final table that one at Eden's Hill and locked up my mixed game player of the series award with it. But I
Very nice.
didn't get to win. I think. I cannot recall actually who won that off the top of my head, but might have been Matty Gin. I might be wrong there.
my
It might have been him.
goodness.
And yeah, that besides, a lot of people like the split pot games, like Omaha high low, 8 and better. Stud high low, 8 and better.
Hey, shout out to the Mixed Game Academy as well.
Yeah,
with the pokernews.com.
That's right, that article on Poker News a few days ago, which I noticed about 3:30 one morning, and then texted the Mixed Game guys, including Shannon, say, hey, look at this article.
One of those as
I was like, oh, good, they finally got it off the cutting room floor and put it on there. And yeah, it's well worth the read. It's great what those guys are doing. For those of us, for anyone who doesn't live in Melbourne, and doesn't get the opportunity to play the mixed home games that are around Melbourne each week there, it's great to get these.
The Den
popping up in the tournament. Well, yeah, the Den is not a regular weekly game. The Den is a private venue in Melbourne that hosts mixed game tournaments every few months. But the players that play in the Den have their own weekly sort of rotation mixed game cash games as well. So shout out to any of them who are listening.
I'm just looking for a little bit of a scroll through. He goes all in with the ace-7, and we get a call from PS ace-3.
And this ace-7 has the chip lead. Ace-3 at risk. This might be it right here. You get a chop pot. Oh, small percentage at the time here. So ace-4 versus ace-3. We get a chop pot a lot. Let's see what happens on the flop here.
We're doing the 250 shuttle.
PS should be hoping for high cards, if not a 3, to get that chop pot.
Hey, whoa, no.
And Jack 10 and a 7 on the flop.
Goodness.
And that is almost going to do it. And that will do it. Drawing dead. GG. We have a winner.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have Igor, our champion of the grind, right here at the Intercontinental Adelaide.
And a big hug there. We still never got confirmation on what deal they did. But look, Igor came into heads-up play with the chip lead. Did not keep it the whole way through heads-up play, but got it back and then closed it out. So congratulations to him.
We're doing a 250 shuttle. No, I got 4.5 mil.
I'm just seeing some of the chat comments we've got. Are we able to listen to the boys? The commentary with PS and Igor we could listen to. Look, the short answer there is, I believe they are mic'd up, but us in the commentary booth, we can't actually hear what they're saying, and so it's hard for us to know when to shut up to let you guys listen to them talk. I'm sorry to say. And hopefully that's something that we can improve on for next time. Also see Craig asking us who's commentating. My name's Dan Mayo, and
Aidan Glenn. It's been a pleasure having you, Dan.
Thank you.
As we get some zoomed-in action of the beautiful crystal, I should say, trophy of the grind. See if we can get the focus.
Get the focus. There we go. A very nice trophy, and that'll take up a bit of luggage space.
Yeah, they are heavy.
Yeah. I've not got one of these APT ones. I did get a mixed games academy one at Eden's Hill last year, but it was a different trophy design and a little bit smaller. I tried to get one of those today. Didn't run right when it counted, and busted a few spots short of taking that trophy home in my luggage tomorrow. So maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you, Dan. And
thank you, Aidan.
Mate, if you find some time, anytime, pop your head in, say good day. It's you're well liked here on the commentary, as you can see.
Appreciate that.
Through the thing. Big congratulations to the champion, and second place in Pierce. He's going to get, I think the ring is coming out. They're going to be stacking the chips.
Yeah, they'll be doing
the media
photos,
will be doing the photos.
And all that, and getting, there's a lot you can do with that many chips that you end up with, and showing the winning hand and all sorts of things.
Well,
So he should enjoy this moment. It's a big tournament to win. It's one of the premier ones on this schedule. And he should celebrate that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as a commentary team, we are signing out. Thanks you for having us in Adelaide. This is the Australian Poker Tour. We'll see you tomorrow.